Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. I have some old timber here on my trailer. We recently rescued some old floorboards from a cottage. Would have been probably about 1880s, 1890s, so a very early cottage. Turns out they're a hardwood. I think they're an ash, and they're not tongue and groove, so they're nice early slabs of timber. And we rescued what we could, and I'll link that video below and also put a link up the top corner there. What I'm going to do with them, I've got a few projects in mind, but I'll just show you the condition of the boards first. They came out really well, and they're very hard, and they're a beautiful old rustic, solid, very heavy timber. There's some really early nails. Some of the nails, I think the original nails were actually handmade nails, and I've got some in here that I've been pulling out. So I'm going to denail it, but I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute, because it's not just pulling the nails out. You can see that's a really early one, a rounded head. And some people do save the original handmade nails, and I'll probably will keep a few of the straighter ones, but a lot of breaking off. So I'm pulling the nails out of some of the boards, and other boards like this one, I'm going to actually leave the nails in. And we'll have a look at the back. Now, if I was to knock those through with a hammer, it splits a chunk out of the front, and I kind of don't want to do that. I like the rustic look, and the old nail heads, they're so embedded in the timber that they've sort of become one with the timber. And to knock them out, and I'll show you one I've just done. So here's some I've just knocked through, and you can see it actually takes a fair bit of the timber out. Now, it's still going to look rustic, and in the right situation, it's going to look fine having a little bit of a split in the hole where the nail was. They still take a bit to get out, and this way we can at least save the nails. You can see that's a nice early handmade one. But on boards like this one, where it's a nice finish, I kind of don't want to do that to it. So I'm actually breaking the nails off and leaving the head still in, and I'll just show you what I mean by that. So there's a couple I've just broken off from the underside, and there's one still here to do, and so I knock it back and forward with the hammer. It's a bit hard to do this one-handed, but they don't take much to do. And if I knock them back and forward with the grain rather than across it, they tend to break off just under the level of the timber. Alright, so that's just bent that one over the last bend, and you can see it's broken off below the level of the timber. And I obviously can't save the nail this way, but on boards that have a good side on the other side, this way will leave the nail head still in the timber, and you can see we have that beautiful old rustic look. I haven't disturbed the nail heads, there's no splitting and no chunks out of the timber. So on the boards where there's a nice finish, I'm going to do that. Some of the other boards had glue on them, like this one. So there's some sort of board that was glued down onto the timber, and you can see the swirls of glue here, and to try and sand that off is going to be a nightmare. So on these boards where I don't have the nice finish, and even if I sanded the glue remnants off, I would have lost the nice finish I wanted anyway. So on these ones, I am going to hammer the boards through, the nails through, and I won't worry about a bit of splitting, because I will probably use the underside of the board. And you can see there, that's the original timber, and that really just needs a light sand, and it will look magnificent. I could probably sand it right back and get a beautiful grain out of it. I might do a bit of experimenting there. But so on these boards, I will just hammer the nails through, and I might save a few of them. And once they're hammered through like that, I'm just using some large pincers just to lever the nails out. And if I want to reuse them, I only need a quick hit with the hammer to straighten them, and that's quite reusable. I would only ever use them on a specialist job that I wanted really early nails with. So we'll save a few, and the rest can go in the scrap bins. I'm also going to get some odd tacks and things where there was some sort of board nailed over the top. So we've got to clean them up a bit, and then I can stack them away for storage. I'll work out how many I've got as far as a linear meterage goes, and I will show you a couple of projects that I'm going to use these on. Now, when you're pulling nails out of things, you're always going to get some that are either broken off or a real problem to get out. This one's extremely tight, and I can't get the hammer claw under it. It's too low. And also the pincers I've got aren't quite flat enough to get under it. They'll slip off. So if you haven't seen one of these tools, they are awesome. They're an old school nail puller. This is a Barco one, which I think is a German make, oh no, Sweden, my mistake, Sweden. Fantastic tool. They're actually a slide hammer and a levering pincer, and I'll show you how they work. The idea here is that the slide hammer actually hammers the points of the pincer into the timber a little bit. So we open out the jaws, put it either side of the nail head, or even if it's just the shank of the nail, and we use the slide hammer to hammer that down, and then as we lever, the pressure here will close the pincers, and as we push the thing across, oh, it is tight, I've got to get two hands onto this. There we go, look at that. They are amazing tools. If you ever get a chance to buy one of those, grab them. I've had a few come through the shop over the years, and this is one I kept. The other ones I've sold very easily. Most of the old school carpenters know what they are, and they're brilliant for this sort of work. Okay, I'm running out of light tonight. I haven't got the job finished, but I'll get back to these boards. I've probably done about half of them, so I'll get back to them as soon as I can. The crickets are chirping and Coco wants her dinner, so I better finish up now. I'll get back to this as soon as I can. Okay guys, I've finally got back to this. All the timber is cleaned and has been stacked behind my shed under cover back here. So I now can start doing some projects with it. There ended up being around about 175 linear meters in the lot. The longest piece was a bit over 5 meters, and I in that measurement I did allow for cutting bad ends off and that sort of stuff. So there's a fair bit of good timber here. I'll show you a couple of projects I'm planning to do with it, which will become future videos. So as far as this video goes, that's all the timber processed. I was offered a reasonable amount of money for the lot, but I decided to hang on to it because I think I'd like to see how it comes up in a couple of projects. Here's my first project with these boards. We've recently had our our driveway concreted, and we've had the house rendered. So I want to finish off this little access spot for under the house, and I'm just going to basically make a trapdoor, probably with the bottom of these boards, and then I can have a bit of a play with sanding them to see how good they come up. So I'll make a little project, little trapdoor setup and a door for the top section. I might do a separate video on that. And the other project I've got in mind is this old workbench. Now you mightn't be able to see it very well here, but it came out of a shed I cleaned out a while back. I did a video on that series and I'll link it up top now. But as discussed in that video, I suspect underneath this tin, I think the old boards are a bit burnt or charred because it looks to me like it's been in a fire. So I reckon these old boards will make a fantastic top on that, and we might make a nice rustic sideboard for our deck. So they've even used old oil boxes. So it's a nice early piece. I love the way that it's constructed, and I would imagine it's probably early 1900s, maybe up to 1930 or so by the look of those oil boxes. So we'll do a separate video on that one as well. So that will do for this video. I really just wanted to give you a follow-up on what happened with these boards, and it will lead into future projects that I'll use these boards. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.